Left behind in the dust, battlefield was silent now, but only for a moment. Smoke rose from burning ships and broken machines. The red sky above was filled with the sound of distant gunfire and explosions. Bodies lay scattered across the rocky ground, both human and alien. The war between the humans and the Zarnak was reaching its peak. Both sides had lost many. Trust was weak, and fear was strong. Commander Vek, a tall and powerful alien warrior of the Zarnak army, tried to stand. His left leg was broken, and blood dripped from deep wounds on his chest. His armor was cracked. He reached out, calling his soldiers through his comlink. Unit 9, respond. I am down. I need extraction. Silence. He repeated, weaker this time. This is Commander VEK... I need help. The only reply was static. He looked around and saw a ship flying away. It was his own. They had left him behind. VEK felt something strange shame. In the Zarnak army, weakness meant death. They didn't save the wounded. They only saved the strong. He had done the same before to others. Now it was his turn. He lay back on the ground, breathing slowly. The heat from nearby fires made the air thick. His vision started to blur. Was this how he would die? Forgotten in the dirt like a broken machine? Then he heard something. Footsteps. He raised his weapon slowly, pointing it toward the sound. A human soldier stepped through the smoke. Young, dirty, and breathing hard. The human stopped when he saw Vek. You're still alive, the human said. Surprised. Vek pointed his weapon. Stay back, human. Easy, the soldier said, putting down his rifle. I'm not your enemy. Vek's hand trembled. He could fire. He should fire. But he didn single quotes T. The human came closer. Name's Jason. Private Jason Hawley. I saw your team leave without you. Vek said nothing. He stared with cold, angry eyes. You're hurt, Jason said. If we don't move, you'll bleed out or the scavengers will come. Trust me, you don't want that. Vek coughed. His voice was dry. Why? Would a human help me? Jason knelt beside him. Because it's the right thing to do. Vek laughed weakly. There is no right or wrong in war. Only survival. Maybe that's how your people see it, Jason replied, pulling out a small Ned pack. But humans were different. Vek winced as Jason started treating his wounds. The pain was sharp, but Vek didn't stop him. You should leave, Vek said. You'll die for nothing. Been told that before, Jason said, smiling a little. I stayed anyway. As Jason worked, the sun began to set. The ground turned darker, and the shadows grew longer. Jason looked up at the sky. They'll be back, he said. Maybe your side. Maybe mine. Maybe worse. We need shelter. Vek didn't answer. He was losing blood fast. Jason finished patching the worst wounds and pulled Vek's arm over his shoulder. Come on, big guy. Just one step at a time. Vek groaned in pain, but didn't resist. Slowly, they moved toward a half-destroyed structure nearby. It was once part of a communication tower, now just twisted metal and broken walls. Jason laid Vek down carefully and started making a small fire. Night fell in the dark. Strange noises echoed across the battlefield. Creatures hunted the dead. Scavengers. Both animal and machine. Vek opened his eyes. You're a fool, he said quietly. Probably, Jason replied. But better a fool who cares than a warrior who leaves his own behind. Vek looked at him for a long moment. Something was changing inside him. He didn't understand it yet. You'll regret this, he said. Maybe, Jason said, looking into the fire. But not tonight. Above them, in the cold sky, satellites watched. Somewhere far away, leaders planned their next move. No one cared about the soldier and the crippled alien under the broken tower. But something important had begun. Something more powerful than war. Trust. Asterisk. The human who stayed the wind howled through the ruins, like a ghost crying for help. Smoke still floated in the air, thick and heavy, with the smell of blood and burnt metal. The night was cold now, cruel and silent. Under a broken tower, two enemies sat side by side, one human, one alien. Commander Vec opened his eyes slowly. Pain burned in his chest and leg. His body felt heavy, like stone. For a moment, he thought he was dreaming. But then, he saw the fire, and across it, the human soldier Jason Hall. The boy had not left. Vek narrowed his eyes. You stayed, he said, his voice low and rough. Jason looked up. You're welcome. Vec stared at the fire. His voice was bitter. You had a chance to escape, yet you chose to die with your enemy. You're not my enemy anymore, Jason said. Not out here. Not when we're both left behind. Vec gave a dry laugh. Your people are fools, always talking about heart and honor. That's why you lose. Jason didn't argue. Instead, he looked at Vec's wounds. You'll live? Maybe, if we find help soon. Vec shifted, groaning. They won't come for me. Not my people. I know, Jason said. But maybe mine will. There was silence again. The fire crackled softly. Above them, stars began to appear in the sky, cold, distant. Uncaring. Asterisk. Sometime after midnight, Jason heard a sound, metal scraping on stone. Not far, not friendly. He grabbed his weapon and stood slowly. Someone's coming. Vec tried to rise, but the pain held him down. Leave me. Run. Save yourself. Jason shook his head. No chance. He moved silently toward the shadows, hiding behind a broken wall. A red light blinked in the distance, then another. 3, then 4. Drones. Alien. Search drones, but they were not from Vec's army. Jason could tell from the way they moved, like hunters. Fast, low, hungry. The kind that picked up bodies, alive or dead, and ripped them apart for parts. They were called bone scrapers by the soldiers. Half machine, half beast. They had no friends, only targets. Jason held his breath. The drones scanned the area with sharp beams of blue light. One of them paused. It turned toward the tower ruins. It had caught a heat signature. Vek single quotes S. Jason cursed under his breath and aimed his rifle. 1 drone. 2. He couldn't fight them all, but he had to try. He opened fire. 3 shots clean, quick. The first drone dropped. The second turned and screamed like a dying animal. Sparks flew. The others charged toward him. Vec! Jason shouted. Get down. Vec reached for a broken piece of wall and dragged himself behind cover. His body screamed with pain, but he stayed alert. Jason kept firing. The last drone leapt toward him, metal claws out. Jason rolled, shot again, and hit its eye. It exploded. In mid-air, throwing dust and pieces of metal across the ground, silence returned. Jason dropped to his knees, breathing hard. Damn things, he turned to Vec. You okay? Vec looked at him strangely. You could have run. They weren't after you. Maybe not, Jason said. But you're not just some alien anymore. You're my responsibility. Vec didn't answer. He just stared at the blood on Jason's sleeve and the burn marks on his armor. Asterisk as dawn broke. Jason found a broken satellite dish nearby and tried to send a signal. Static. The comms were jammed. Someone didn't want survivors calling for help. V. K watched him from the shelter. You're wasting time. I've got nothing else to do, Jason said. You should be angry, Vec said after a pause. Your army left you too. Why? Do you still fight for them? Jason looked at him. I don't fight for orders anymore. I fight for people. I fight because someone has to. Vex stared at him for a long time. My people? They planned something. Something your commanders don't know. Jason turned. What do you mean? Vex coughed. Before the battle, I heard whispers. Secret orders. A weapon. Your city's Earth, they're in danger. Jason froze. What kind of weapon? Vex's eyes closed. I don't know everything. Just enough to understand. They used us to get close. The alliance was a lie. Jason felt the weight of the words. This wasn't just about survival anymore. This was about stopping a war before it destroyed Earth. Asterisk, asterisk, as the sun rose fully, lighting the red sands and broken ruins. Jason packed his bag. He loaded his weapon. His face was hard now, focused. We need to move, he said. We can't stay here. They'll send more. Vex nodded. Where? Somewhere safe, Jason said. And then, we find proof of what your people planned. Why? Help me? Vex asked again, softer this time. Jason looked at him with steady eyes. Because you're the only one who might help me stop a war. Vex gave a tired smile. For the first time, it wasn't cold. The crippled alien and the young human limped into the rising sun. Two survivors with a secret that could change everything. But in the shadows behind them, something else had begun to move. Something watching. Something waiting. The real hunt had just begun. Enemies in the dark sun had risen, but the battlefield did not feel alive. It felt empty, haunted. Jason and Vex moved slowly through the ruins, hiding between broken walls and shattered machines. Jason supported Vex, who limped with every step. His wounds were healing, but slowly. Too slowly. They didn't speak much. They couldn't afford to. The sounds around them weren't natural. Metal scraping, low clicks, distant growls. The battlefield was no longer just a graveyard. Had become hunting ground. We need shelter before nightfall, Jason whispered. Vek nodded, breathing heavily. I know a place. A Zarnik forward station, hidden inside the cliffs. It might still be there. Lead the way, Jason said. Asterisk, asterisk, they reached the cliffside by sunset. From the outside, it looked like nothing, just more broken rocks and dry earth. But Vex found a control panel buried beneath rubble. He pressed his hand to it. A soft light blinked, and a hidden door slid open with a slow hiss. Inside, the air was cooler. Dark halls stretched deep under the stone. Walls lined with alien tech flickered weakly. Jason followed close, gun ready. They entered a central chamber. It was quiet, old. This place is abandoned, Jason said. It was never meant to be found, Vex replied. Black Ops. Only High Command knew. Then why are we here? Vex pointed toward a locked data core in the wall. Because this station stored plans, secret orders. Maybe even the weapon I told you about. As Vex moved to open the core, Jason walked the room, scanning the shadows. Then he stopped. A sound. Soft. Behind the wall. Jason raised his gun. Vex, he said, we're not alone. Asterisk, asterisk, before Vex could respond, the wall behind them exploded. Dust and light filled the chamber. Something leapt from the smoke, tall, fast, covered in armor like a living blade. Jason fired. The creature moved like lightning. It struck him hard, throwing him across the room. Another came through the smoke. And a third. Vek single quotes as eyes widened. Assassins. What? Jason shouted, blood on his lip. They're called Silence-born, Vex said. Killers created by my people. Used only when secrets must die with the witness. They sent them. For us? Vex looked at him grimly. No, for me. They don't want the truth to leave this station. Jason crawled behind cover, Reloading. Guess we're both witnesses now. Asterisk, asterisk, the battle was brutal. Jason moved fast, using his human instincts and soldier training. The Silence-born were fast, but they were blind in the dark. Jason shot the lights and used shadows to move. Vek, though weak, picked up an alien blade and fought one of them hand to hand. His body was slow, but his mind was still sharp. Every move was defense, then counter. He cut through one attacker's chest with a clean final strike, but another Silence-born appeared. This one was larger, faster. It jumped over Jason and pinned. Vek down. Vek growled in pain. The creature raised its blade. No! Jason screamed, firing his last bullet. The Silence-born turned, but too late. The shot hit its eye. It screamed and fell. Twitching. Vek lay still, chest rising fast. You saved me. Again. Don't get used to it, Jason said, dragging him to safety. Asterisk, asterisk, the room was a mess. Blood, both human and alien, covered the floor. Silence-born bodies lay scattered, some still twitching with sparks. Vek finally reached the data core and unlocked it. Blue light filled the chamber. Jason leaned over. What is it? Vek scrolled through alien files. His hands shook. Plans, maps, orders. The Zarnak High Command. They planned to use Earth's satellite systems against itself. What? They installed a virus during peace talks. Your satellites will turn into orbital weapons. They will strike your cities without warning. Jason stepped back, shocked. This is why they started the alliance. Not for peace. For control. Vek nodded. And now we're both targets. Not just enemies of war, but enemies of silence. Jason looked at the data core. We need to get this back to Earth. Easier said than done, Vek replied. Transmitting from here would expose us. They'll trace it. They'll come. Jason checked his gear. Then we move. We run. And we find a way to survive. Vek gave a tired laugh. For a young human, you speak like a warrior. And you, Jason said, fight like a brother. Asterisk, asterisk, but just as they stepped toward the exit, the data core let out a strange pulse. Something deep inside the base woke up. Red lights flashed. A voice echoed in Zarnak language, then translated. Unauthorized data access detected. Auto-purge initiated. The countdown began. 10 minutes. What does that mean? Jason asked. The base is going to destroy itself, Vek replied. They built it with a dead man's switch. If secrets are taken, everything burns. Jason looked at the door. Then we run, now. Asterisk, asterisk, they escaped the base just before it exploded behind them, the ground shaking under their feet. The cliffs burned. Flames reached the sky, but Jason held the data drive in his hand still intact. Vek limped beside him, coughing. They'll come faster now. They know we're alive. Then let them come, Jason said, eyes hard. We're not just survivors anymore. We're the only ones who know the truth. Asterisk, asterisk, far above them, in the orbit of a dying planet, a shadow moved. A Zarnak warship had turned. Watching. Hunting. And it had locked on to Jason's signal. Asterisk, the forgotten Kadethi flames still burned in the distance. Jason and Vek stood at the edge of the ruined cliffside, smoke rising behind them from the destroyed Zarnak base. The data core had been saved, just barely. But now, they were no longer just survivors. They were fugitives. The air was dry, hot. Jason's arm was bleeding from a deep cut, but he said nothing. Vek limped beside him, holding the side of his ribs. Both knew what came next. They had to disappear. Fast. Asterisk, asterisk, too. Days passed. They moved through a dead zone, old battlefields where no one lived anymore. Broken machines, burnt trees, and dead silence followed them. The war had scarred everything. Even the ground seemed tired. They found a crashed human transport buried in the dirt. Inside were old supplies, food rations, medical kits, half working. Radios. Jason set up a camp inside the wreckage, while Vec lay against the wall, eyes closed. "You need rest," Jason said, checking the wounds. "I need answers," Vek replied, opening his eyes. "And I think they're in that data drive." Jason nodded. The device was alien and encrypted, but Vec could read it. Slowly, carefully, he unlocked more files. What they found made the air colder. Asterisk, asterisk, a video began to play. An alien council chamber. High-ranking Zarnak generals speaking in code. Their voices emotionless. Phase 1 successful. Human systems compromised. Satellites. Loaded with sleeper programs. Ready to fire when signal is given. Peace treaty served its purpose. The humans never saw it coming. Vec froze. This was before the alliance, he said quietly. Before the first handshake, Jason clenched his fists. They planned this from the start. But then, another voice entered the recording. Calm. Clear. Human. Good. Everything is in place. Vec stared at the screen. That was not one of my people. Jason stared too. His face turned pale. He knew the voice. "General Barris," he said, stunned. "My commander." Asterisk, asterisk, silence filled the rec. Vek looked at Jason. "Your leaders were part of this." Jason shook his head. "No, that can't be. General Barris was loyal. He was a hero. He sold your world, Jason. We made a deal with him, access to your satellites in return for Zarnak weapons. He gave us the codes." Vec turned back to the screen. But something changed. "Look, listen." Another file played. An encrypted message sent by General Barris. "Project Eclipse is out of control. Zarnak Command plans total shutdown of human cities. Millions will die." This was never the agreement. "I'm pulling back. If they find this message, I'm already dead." Vec stared. Jason didn't speak. He sat down slowly. His world, everything he believed in, was breaking. Asterisk, asterisk, that night, neither of them slept. Jason cleaned his rifle again, and again, just to keep his hands busy. Vec stared at the stars outside the wreck, remembering the war, the blood, the cold choices he had made. We were both lied to. Vec finally said. Jason didn't look at him. "We followed orders, and orders nearly killed us all." Vec spoke after a pause. "Maybe we were never soldiers. Maybe we were just tools." Jason sighed. "Maybe it's time to break the machine." Asterisk, asterisk, at dawn, they heard a sound. A soft hum. Jason grabbed his rifle and climbed out of the wreck. A ship was landing, small, fast, unmarked. A stealth human scout vessel. It touched down silently, its engine still hot. A figure stepped out. A woman, dressed in black armor. Clean, sharp, deadly. She raised her hand. "Jason Hawley?" He didn't lower his weapon. "Who's asking?" "Agent Vera Grant. Special Intelligence Division." Vec stepped forward, weak but alert. "What do you want?" "To help," she said. "I know about Project Eclipse, and I know you have the proof." Jason narrowed his eyes. "And how do we know you're not part of it?" "Because they tried to kill me too," she replied, pulling back her sleeve. Her arm was scarred by laser burns. "I found the code. I leaked it. Now they want me dead." Vec looked at her. "You're lying. Or half-truthing. Which is worse?" Vera smirked. "Fine. Then let's say this. I don't care who lives or dies. I care about stopping the satellite strike. I care about burning the ones who think they're gods." Jason looked at Vec. The alien nodded slowly. "We move together," Jason said. "But if you betray us, then shoot me," Vera said calmly. "But first, let's get off this cursed rock." Inside the stealth ship. Vera connected Jason's data drive to her console. There's a hidden signal buried deep, she said. Something left by Barris. A final fail-safe code. To stop the satellites? Jason asked. To destroy them? Vera replied. But it has to be broadcast from orbit. From the high relay station above Sector 9. Vec's face darkened. Sector 9 is controlled by my people. Not anymore, Vera said. They abandoned it after the betrayal. It's unguarded, but unstable. We'll go, Jason said. Vera nodded. One last mission. But as the ship lifted into the air, another signal lit up in the corner of the screen. A lock. Someone was watching. Vek leaned forward. They know. Vera looked at him. They'll send something. Something worse than assassins. What's worse? Jason asked. Vek said nothing for a long time. And answered softly. The Code Keepers. They do not kill for silence. They kill for loyalty. And they never fail. In the dark void above the planet, a cold shape moved. A massive ship with no name, no flag. Inside, machines woke from sleep. Old, cruel machines. They whispered in code. Target located. Truth must be erased. Release the Code Keepers. The hunt begins. Stealth. Ship sliced through the upper atmosphere like a silent blade. Inside, Jason stood near the window, watching the planet fade below them. Dust storms swirled over the war-torn surface. What once was a battlefield was now just another scar on a dying world. Beside him, Commander Vec sat with eyes half closed, conserving energy. Vera Grant, the ex-intelligence officer, worked silently at the cockpit console. They were heading to Sector 9, an abandoned orbital relay station floating in decaying orbit. Their mission: upload the fail-safe code from General Barris to disable the sleeper virus in the satellites. Above Earth. But time was not their only enemy. Something worse was coming. Vera broke the silence. There's something you both need to know. Jason turned. What now? Sector 9 systems are locked, she said, still typing. Zarnok engineers set it to auto-defense mode when they fled. Once we land, the station will treat us all as intruders. Vec opened one eye. Automated. Turrets. Yes, drones too. And motion-sensitive pressure seals. Great, Jason muttered. A flying tomb. Not just that, Vera continued. The station's AI was experimental, learning-based, designed to adapt to threats. Vec raised a brow. You mean it learns from your mistakes? Vera nodded. And punishes them. As the ship approached the dead station, lights began to flicker across its surface-dim red lights. Half of it looked broken, drifting slowly, tethered only by emergency power. Long, silent corridors spun in zero gravity, filled with dust, floating metal, and frozen bodies. We dock here, Vera said. Section D4, maintenance ring. You've been here before? Jason asked. Once, she replied, and I barely got out alive. The ship latched onto the station's side with a hard clang. The airlock hissed. Gravity disappeared. They floated inside. Vek held onto the walls, moving with his large hands. This place smells like death. Jason moved carefully. Smells like a trap. The corridor was dark, except for thin, blinking lights. Metal creaked as the station groaned under its own weight. Vera led the way, flashlight mounted on her shoulder. Mainframes this way. Control deck should still have the core upload port. As they moved deeper, Jason's comlink beeped. Static, then a whisper. Human. Turn back. He stopped. Did you hear that? Vera shook her head. Vec frowned. They've tapped the station. Who? Jason asked. The Code Keepers, Vek said. Asterisk, asterisk, they reached the control deck door. Sealed, locked with a Zarnak encryption. Can you open it? Jason asked. Vek placed his hand on the panel. I can try. The door hissed, then slowly opened. But behind it, waiting, stood 3 figures. They were tall, pale, not fully alive. Part flesh, part machine. No eyes, just black metal where a face should be. Thin armor wrapped around their bodies like living bone. Code keepers. They moved without sound. They carried no guns, only long staff-like weapons humming with energy. They did not speak. They attacked. Asterisk, asterisk, Jason rolled left, firing quickly. The bullets bounced off. Vera threw a stun grenade. It exploded, but the creatures didn't even flinch. Ek rushed forward, blade drawn. He fought one head-on. Their weapons clashed. Sparks flew, but the Codekeeper was faster. Its staff wrapped around Vek's weapon and snapped it in half. Vek fell hard, groaning. Jason jumped between them, shooting again. This time he aimed for the joints. One shot hit a weak spot, breaking a knee. The creature stumbled. Double quotes. Go for the joints. He yelled. Vera pulled out her sidearm and joined the fire. One by one, they pushed the Codekeepers back barely. Then suddenly, the remaining ones stopped and spoke, not aloud but directly into their minds. You carry the Forbidden Code. Return it, or be erased. Vek bled from his lip. We choose. Neither. Then you are already dead. With unnatural speed, it threw its staff toward Jason. Vek jumped in front, taking the full blow. He hit the wall, hard, unconscious. Jason's scream echoed in the control room. Asterisk, asterisk, the Codekeeper turned to finish Vek. But Vera uploaded the code. A high-pitched sound rang through the room. The Codekeeper paused. Its body began to twitch. This code is not human. Vera looked at Jason. Now! Together, they pushed the body back into a power conduit. Jason picked the loose staff, sparking the energy flow. The machine convulsed, then shattered. In a burst of white light, silence returned. Asterisk, asterisk, Vera rushed to Vek's side. He's alive, barely. Jason looked at the screen. The upload was 87% complete. Come on. He whispered. Outside the station, something massive entered orbit. The shadow warship. The Zarnak command ship. They had arrived. Asterisk, asterisk, the countdown hit 100%. Code. Uploaded. Earth single quotes as satellites responded. The virus began to delete. But the enemy wasn't done yet. The warship launched 2 interceptors straight at the station. Vera looked up. We need to go. Now. Jason lifted Vek on his shoulder. No one gets left behind. Asterisk, asterisk, they ran through the station as it shook with explosions. Fire burst. From the ceiling, pieces of metal rained down. The AI screamed warnings in both human and Zarnik languages. As they reached the ship. The docking port had already started collapsing. Vera jumped across. Jason threw Vek toward her, then jumped last, barely catching the edge as the floor gave. Way behind him. The ship launched. The station exploded. Asterisk, asterisk, inside, Jason lay on the floor, panting. Vek was unconscious, but breathing. Vera stared ahead at the stars. The code worked, she said. Earth is safe. Jason looked at her. For now. But you know what comes next, right? Yeah, Jason said. They won't stop. Vera nodded. They'll come again. Not for silence, but for revenge. Jason looked down at Vek, resting. Then we fight again, he said. Not for orders, not for flags. This time, for truth. Asterisk, asterisk, and far away, across the galaxy, a new order was forming. Zarnak leaders whispered in the dark. The human escaped. The alien betrayed us. Prepare the final wave. And somewhere deep beneath Earth's own governments, others were listening. Waiting. Ready to strike. Asterisk, asterisk, the last stand of 12th ship limped through space, sparks flickering from its damaged engine. Alarms blinked on the dashboard. Warning lights flashed red. Jason stood at the cockpit window, silent. Could see Earth now blue, beautiful, and distant. It looked peaceful from here, but it WA sends single quotes T. beneath the surface. Humanity was preparing for war. Above it. Death was already on its way. Asterisk, asterisk, Commander Veek lay in the medbay, unconscious, breathing. Slow and shallow. His body was failing. Even with advanced healing tech, the fight with the Codekeeper had pushed him past his limits. Jason checked the vitals again. Hang in there, Vec. We're not done yet. Vera Grant stood at the doorway, watching him. Her expression unreadable. We lost contact with command, she said. No one's responding, not even off-world bases. They're jamming us. Jason nodded slowly. They know we're coming. Vera took a deep breath. You still have the drive? Jason pulled it from his belt pouch. Yeah, full code archive. Barris's warning. The truth. Then we finish this, she said. We make it public, all of it. Asterisk, asterisk, but just as they prepared to enter Earth's orbit, the ship's sensors lit up like a storm. A fleet had arrived. The Zarnak Armada. Not just a few ships. Not scouts. A full war fleet. Dozens of ships appeared from subspace, black and silver, shaped like wings and claws. They blocked every angle of approach to Earth. Orbit was now a fortress, and the largest ship among them, a Mindhammer dreadnought, sat at the center like a throne of death. They're going to strike the planet, Vera whispered. No invasion, no surrender, just total destruction. Unless we stop them, Jason said. Asterisk, asterisk, the stealth ship couldn't survive a head-on battle. But Vera had a plan 1 that might get them inside the dreadnought. There's a backdoor engineering. Port, blind spot in their scans. Old Zarnak design flaw. If Vec were awake, he'd know it. Jason looked at Vec, still unconscious. Then, Vec's hand twitched. He's waking up. Hours later, Vek sat up slowly in the medbed, his voice hoarse. You survived. We all did, Jason said. But Earth won't. Not unless we end this. Vec nodded. Then we end it. There's one way, Vera said. We board the dreadnought. Upload the truth to all frequencies. Use its own cum tower to reach every side. Zarnak, human, off-world colonies. Make the lies impossible to hide. Vec stood, weak but determined. They'll never allow it. We don't need permission, Jason said. Just a way in. And enough fire to clear a path. Asterisk, asterisk, they approached the dreadnought through the blind spot. The stealth ship trembled from nearby scans. Vek, now suited in heavy armor, led the way. Go in quiet, he said, but we'll leave with fire. The docking was rough. Alarms screamed. The dreadnought detected them too late. They were inside. The halls of the dreadnought were massive, dark, and alive with moving light. The walls pulsed with energy. It wasn't just a ship. It was a weapon that breathed. Asterisk, asterisk, they split up. Vera went to disable the power grid. Vek, and Jason moved toward the Kundash tower. Every step was a war. Zarnak soldiers filled the halls. Jason and Vec fought side by side, rifles, blades, bare fists. Vek protected Jason's flank without needing to speak. Jason covered Vec's blind side without asking. Enemies fell, one after another. Asterisk, asterisk, finally. They reached the tower. The cum core glowed in the center of a circular chamber. Massive, humming, guarded by elite warriors. Vek looked at Jason. I'll distract them. You upload the truth. No, Jason said. We do it together. But Vec smiled a strange, tired smile. No, not this time. Before Jason could stop him, Vec charged. His blade sang through the air, cutting through the guards. Energy blasts struck his armor, but he didn't fall. V. K reached the core, slammed his blade into the control port, overriding the system with his own life signature. Now, Jason, he shouted. Jason ran to the console, slammed in the drive. Files uploaded. Across every frequency, every channel. Truth poured like fire. General Barris's voice. Alien Council recordings. Betrayal files. Orders to destroy Earth. Every human station heard it. Every Zarnak leader heard it. No more lies. Asterisk. But then the Dreadnought's core began to pulse dangerously. They're going to self-destruct. Vera shouted through the comm. They'd rather burn than be exposed. Jason turned to Vek. The alien was on his knees, wounded, blood pouring from his side. Go, Vec said. Finish this. Leave me. Not again, Jason growled. I said no one gets left behind. Vec smiled faintly. And I said, you were a fool. Vera met Jason at the escape pod. He dragged Vec inside. Barely breathing, they launched just as the Dreadnought began to explode behind them. Fire engulfed the sky. When the pod crash-landed on Earth, Jason stumbled out, dragging Vec onto the grass. Soldiers arrived. Not enemies, but human and Zarnak. Alike dashed together. The truth had spread. It had changed everything. A war had been stopped. By two broken soldiers. Vec lay still under the Earth sky. Jason sat beside him. You didn't die forgotten, he whispered. You lived with honor, and you changed everything. Vec didn't answer, but a soft breath rose from his chest. A flicker of life. Maybe enough for one last fight. In the skies above Earth. Peace was still fragile, but something had begun. Not just survival. Not just alliance. A bond. Between enemies. Between warriors. Between brothers. For honor. For humanity. The world had changed. Earth was still standing, but it no longer stood alone. Above its skies. Zarnak warships had vanished, retreating into silence after the truth was broadcast across the stars. Human colonies received the message too. Systems once loyal to corrupted leaders began to fracture. Alliances were questioned. Revolts broke out on moons, mining belts, and off-world stations. But amidst the storm, hope had been born. A field. Hospital was set up on the outskirts of New Geneva, a city once prepared for destruction, now filled with people rebuilding. Commander Vic lay in a reinforced medical pod, his massive frame hooked to alien and human tech alike. His body was still broken, barely holding on. But he was alive. Private Jason Hawley visited him every day, sitting beside the pod, talking even when Vec didn't respond. On the seventh day, Vec opened his eyes. You talk too much, he whispered. Jason laughed softly, blinking back tears. Well, someone has to. You've been sleeping on the job. The galaxy now knew the truth. The recordings from General Barris. The betrayal by both human and Zarnak high commands. The virus hidden in the satellites. The failed plan to wipe out entire cities. The truth had set fire to the old order. And truth, Jason learned, was the most dangerous weapon of all. A council was called not of governments or military heads, but of survivors. Leaders from independent colonies, rebel scientists, defected Zarnak officers, human resistance fighters, and civilian leaders. They gathered under one broken flag and one broken promise. Never again. And the one they chose to speak first? Jason Hawley. Not a general. Not a politician. Not just a soldier who chose to save someone when no one else would. Asterisk, asterisk, Jason stood in front of them, nervous but steady. I wasn't supposed to be here, he said. I was supposed to follow orders, supposed to stay in line, supposed to see an alien bleeding on the ground and keep walking. He looked up, but I didn't, because deep down, we all know something. Honor isn't given by rank, and humanity isn't just a species. He paused. It's a choice. Asterisk, asterisk, his speech echoed across systems. In some places. It sparked protests. In others. Revolutions. But in many. It sparked understanding. Asterisk, asterisk, later that night. Jason returned to Vex. Room. Vek was sitting up now, breathing with help from a vent mask. He looked older somehow. Not in body, but in soul. You spoke well, Vek said. You even sounded wise. Must have picked it up from some old alien. Jason SMIRKED.VE. K chuckled weakly. You made something impossible happen. Not alone, Jason said, sitting down. Never alone. A long silence passed. Then Vec asked quietly, What now? Jason looked out the window. The stars seemed brighter than before. Now we build something new, and we guard it with everything we've got. Asterisk, asterisk, but far above, in a dark part of the galaxy. Not everyone celebrated peace. A shadow council, those who had stayed hidden even from the Zarnak overlords, watched the spread of unity with cold, dead eyes. The fire has started, one said. The human and the traitor awakened. Something dangerous. So? We burn it before it grows. In deep black space, they activated a beacon. Not a fleet. Not a message. But a being. An ancient weapon. Sealed long ago, before the Zarnak Empire even rose. It opened its eyes. And began to move. Asterisk, asterisk, back on Earth. Jason and Vex stood together beneath the rebuilt Alliance banner, now redefined not by control, but by survival and shared purpose. A reporter approached them. Commander Vec, Private Howley. What should the galaxy remember from all this? Vec looked at Jason. Jason answered that peace was never about being the same. It was about standing together when it mattered most. Asterisk, asterisk, as they turned to walk back into the light, neither of them noticed the pulse that flickered once. In the sky. Something was coming. And this time, it wouldn't come from war, but from the past. Asterisk, asterisk, but when it does. A crippled alien warrior and the human who refused to leave him behind will be ready, not because they are the strongest, not because they were chosen, but because they chose to fight for honor, for truth, for each other, for humanity. The end